morning once again. Right now on the road, on the highway between Lithuania and Poland, and it's incredibly fairer than the road between, of course, Latvia and Lithuania, Estonia and Latvia. This has two-way traffic for both upcoming and ongoing traffic, so pretty much the movement is a bit smoother, and these bad guys in the road, you don't have to deal with them as much as you had to deal with them in Latvia and Estonia. So that's quite a good thing. As easy as ABC. So we are on the border between Poland and Lithuania, and apparently there is I don't know, is it okay, that's alcohol check. Okay, interesting. Okay, well, didn't check me. Probably he knows I'm coming from another country. He's checking his countrymen. All right, that's interesting. But yeah, good morning once again. If you're just joining, this is your boy Madison Vance, traveling and touring Europe on my personal van. Let's see how far we can go in Europe. Let's see how far we can tour the continent of Europe. But here I am, in the border of Poland and Lithuania. Poland is very big. To drive across the whole of Poland from first point, the northern tip, to the southern tip, it takes around approximately 9 hours of driving. I am not planning to do that, so probably I'll make a quick stop. My GPS says I should be in Poland in 3 hours 41 minutes. So I've been driving from Lithuania for the last 1 hour now. Yes. So probably I'll take a stop in Warsaw overnight and continue the next day. Probably, no hurries. So I might do a bit of touring in Warsaw, see what I can find, and maybe a bit of a history. But yeah, diving into it. Make sure you stick around.
You must have been loved, but it's over now. You must have been good, lonely when without. You must have been just
Well, welcome back to day 2 of my trip around Europe. Day 2, and after almost 1,000 kilometers driving from Estonia down now to Poland. I hope you enjoyed the first series. Comment below, let me know what you think about the first series. Today we are in Warsaw, and I plan to spend only one night in Warsaw. Warsaw, the capital or the capital city of Poland. Warsaw, does it ring a bell? This country saw 2 great wars in Europe, of which they didn't start any at all. They saw the First World War and the Second World War. Peace. The First World War, spawning from 1914 to 1918, was actually started by a Serb who went and killed the Austro-Hungarian king, which sparked up the invasion of one country and another by another country. And then you got the First World War. And the second being one person wanting to take over the whole world, and it ended up being a disaster for that country. We all know it as well, which led to the Second World War, caused by the man himself, Hitler. Towards the end of 1989, we saw a lot of revolutions and re-revolutions in Europe. The countries that made up the Eastern Bloc, the 8 countries, starting from Albania to Romania to Bulgaria, Eastern Germany, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, Poland, and of course Hungary. Revolution sparked up, first of all, a peaceful one in Hungary, which saw the break of the Iron Curtain. The Iron Curtain of Europe broke originally or initially from Hungary. So if you remember what I was saying, after the dissolution of the Soviet Union and all the members of the Eastern Bloc in 1989, the only country with a history of a bloody revolution in 1989 was only Romania. Mr. Ceausescu, being the man who doesn't want to leave communist rule, or being the man who doesn't want to leave communist way of government or governance, which actually led to his overthrow onward, I think a year later on. But enough of war and history and dark side of Europe. Actually, Polish people don't look like what they've been through. They're all smiling, they're all friendly, happy to help you, happy to get your questions answered, help you in any way. They don't look like what they've been through. Suffering, losses that were inflicted on them in the First and the Second World War, of which they never caused any. And today, in the modern day, history is also repeating itself. Look at what Russia is doing in Ukraine. The question now is, who is next? Who is next after Ukraine? Perhaps nobody next, because of the advancement of NATO being an allied force that will defend every each member when Article 5 is triggered. If there hadn't been any force like NATO way back in the years, right now, if there hadn't been any force like NATO right now, probably we'll be talking about the 4th or the 5th World War already. The Old Town in Warsaw was actually bombarded during the Second World War, so all the structures, all the new structures you're seeing right now were not this way, but they were eventually rebuilt by this man here. He is the architect of the new Old Town of Warsaw. This brilliant man you see here. And actually, Old Town Warsaw, where I'm right now working, giving you updates, is a UNESCO World Heritage Center. They got this status in the year 1980. Make sure you like my videos, subscribe as well. Always leave your comment, let me know what you think. I like when you write me your comments, of course, showing your support for your man, Miles and Vance. Until I venture into the next city or the next episode, make sure you stay away from trouble. Scaring the kids, yeah, but of course, it's been a nuisance to the kids. So, see you when I see you. Make sure you don't go away.